Okay, Saxon 4, this is Lesson 97, Part 2. We made it as far as talking about Part A, lesson practice with the outlier. And if we look at this set of data points, we looked at all the other ones in this lesson. Some of them were like 10. It was very obvious. But this one, the lowest, is 50. And that's still a 30-point stretch before the rest of the data points begin. So all these are fairly close together, and then boom, you've got 50 out by himself. So 50 is the outlier. So now we need to find the mean, median, mode, and range of this set of data points. So the first thing we're going to do is add all of these up. So this is a pretty large problem with column addition, but we can do it. I'm going to teach you some tricks. Okay, in the first column we see 5 plus 5 is 10. And here's where it gets tricky. But I notice I have a lot of 9s. And also if I take this 1 and attach it to this 8, I can create another 9. So here's one set of 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 sets of 9. 5 times 9 is 45. Keep that in the back of your head. I also have a 5 and an 8 to add on, and that's 13. So if I do 45 and 13, that gives me 58, right? Okay, so carry the 5, put down the 8. And 5 and 1 is 6. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scores there. So I'm going to take 680 divided by those 8 scores. How many groups of 8 can I get out of 6? 0. How many can I get out of 68 without going over? 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. Subtract, bring down. How many groups of 8 can I get out of 40? 5, because 5 times 8 is 40. And so there's nothing left to bring down. I know my problem is finished. So 85 is our mean. You could also call that the average, okay? And there's the abbreviation for average. Now on the next part, we have to be careful. We have to put them in order from least to greatest, okay? So I've got a 50, I've got 180, I've got 3 90s, okay? I've got 185, so 50, 80, 85. Here's how you would do it, 50, 80, 85. And I only had 185, just double checking. 3 sets of 90. I only have 195 and 100. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know when I have an even number that I'm going to have to do some averaging, possibly, because there's not going to be a number right in the middle. But the way I like to do this is take hops from the outside in until I find the exact middle. Sometimes you end up just pointing to one single number, but here, when we take 4 hops in on each side, the middle's right here. So this one's going to end up to be easy because it's the same number. If this had been different, I would have to add these 2 numbers and divide by 2. You have to find the average of the 2 middle numbers to get your median. But since they're the same, if I were to add 90 plus 90, I would get 180 divided by 2. Well, it's 90. Okay, so remember, if they're the same 2 middle numbers, then your median gets to be that number. So median. Now we've got to do mode. Mode is the one that occurs the most. Okay, so think mode, most. And the score that we had the most of was 90. So that's also our mode. Now the last thing we have to figure is the range. Okay, and that is we have to do a math problem from the greatest to the least here. And if we find the difference and we do 100 minus 50, it's 50, we have a range of 50. Okay, that means the span from the least to the greatest. Okay, so check yourself. Oh, also, that's right, we did the outlier first and it is 50. Now let's look at a different set of numbers. We also have to find mean, median, mode, and range for this set. So I'm going to add those up. Okay, so here we have them lined up vertically. And we've got 8 and 1 and 1. I like to look for sets of 10, so boom, there's a set of 10 plus 5 is 15. And look here, we've got 3, 6, 9, and one more is 10. And then we've got 2 and 2 is 4, so that would be 145. So I'm going to take that 145 and divide it by the amount of scores we had. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different scores. How many groups of 5 can we get out of 1? 0. What about 14? 2, because 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract, bring down. How many groups of 5 can I get out of 45? 9, because 9 times 5 is 45. So our average, or our mean, is 29. Now we have to be careful in putting them in order from least to greatest. So we've got a 25, a 28, 25, 28, 30. We've got, and two 31s. Okay, so now let's find that median, and it's an odd amount of numbers, so I know when I take my hops in, there's one hop on both sides, two hops, and look, they're both pointing to the median, which is 30. Median. Now we have to do the mode. The mode is the one that occurs the most, and the only one that got 2 was 31. We saw that 2 different times, so 31 is the mode. And now the range from the least to the greatest. We do a subtraction problem. 31 minus 25, and we know that's 6. So we have a range from the lowest score to the highest score, a range of 6. So double check yourself, because we did lesson practice on paper. Now let's look at C. This time we only have to find the median of the test scores. And we have to also be able to explain ourselves. So anytime you're finding the median, you have to put them in order from least to greatest, and I'm going to double check because sometimes they'll give you a list and it will not be in order, okay? Like this one right here, see that 90 was not in order, 85 wasn't in order. So 75, 80, 80, 90. 95, 100. And all it asked us to find was the median. So let's do hops in. There's one hop, two hops, three hops in the middle. We have to take these two scores, okay? Now, if there's a point between these two numbers that falls exactly between them, then that's going to be your median. Is there a number that falls right between 80 and 90? Yeah, it's 85, isn't it? But let me show you why. If we still go through the steps and add 80 and 90, we're going to find the average here. 8 and 9 is 17. 170 divided by 2. How many groups of 2 out of 17? Be 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract, bring down. How many groups of 2 can I get out of 10? 5, because 5 times 2 is 10. And so even if I do all of that math, what do I still find is my median? It's 85. And so how to explain how you found your answer? If you wanted to put that in words, you would have to say, I found the median of the test scores shown below by first putting them in order from least to greatest. Then I take hops from the outside to find the middle number. If it's an odd number, I'll have a definite median immediately. If it's an even number, I will average the two middle numbers, and that answer will be my median. So if you can put that in words, that's what it would be. So let's go back now to lesson 96, or maybe, oh, hang on. Yes, that's right, 96, written practice. Hit pause as you check 1 through 6. Hit pause as you check 7 through 14. And hit pause as you check 15 through 30. And now we're going to finish up with some mental math. We've been finding 50 times a number by pretending that 50 is 100 and then just taking half, since 50 is half of 100. So think 100 times 16 is 1600. Right now divide that by 2, or divide it in half, 800. Think 100 times 44. Take half of that. Good. Think 100 times 26. Take half of that. 100 times 68. Take half of that. The groceries cost $32.48 and the magazine cost $4.99. What was the total cost? Of course, we pretend like the $4.99 is really $5. And when we're finished, we will take away a penny. So add on $5 to this and take away a penny. $37.47. Okay, estimation. Each box is 30.5 centimeters tall, 30.5. Estimate the height using centimeters of a stack of 6 boxes. Now I could round 30.5 off to 31, but then it would make it a little bit more difficult to work with 6. So if I just round it off to 30, it's totally okay to do that to make it easier to work with and more compatible. Remember talking about compatible numbers? Okay, think 6 times 30, and our estimate is 180 centimeters. Calculation time. 200 divided by 2. 100 divided by 2. 50 divided by 2. 25. Write 25 in Roman numerals. Okay, we know that 10 is x, so here we need 2 sets of 10, don't we? So we would have to do 2 x's, and 5 is the phi. So this stands for 25. Problem solving. There are 365 days in a common year, which is about 52 weeks. However, since 52 weeks is exactly 364 days, yes, if we did 52 times 7, we would get 364. A year does not start on the same day of the week as the start of the preceding year. Okay, if it had been 364 days exactly for a year, then yes, every year would start on the same day. Oh, I didn't mean to click that. But since there's one extra, then it's going to start on the next day. So if it says if a common year starts on Tuesday, the day of the week of the following year will begin Wednesday. Okay? And we are finished.